So you've finally stacked enough capital to realize that luxury watches are just depreciating toys, and you're ready for the ultimate 0.1% flex, becoming a lord of the urban jungle. Congratulations! You're about to follow in the footsteps of legendary titans like Sam Zell or the Blackstone Group, aiming to turn 100 families into your own personal annuity. But before you start measuring for the mahogany desk in your new leasing office, you need to understand that owning an apartment complex isn't the mailbox money ticket to paradise. It is a high-stakes collision with the most expensive and destructive variables in the human experience. By the end of this, you'll know exactly where the hidden trapdoors are in the floorboards, how the professionals use the value-add arbitrage to manufacture millions in equity, and whether there is any version of this game where you aren't just an unpaid employee for the city's tax department. There's no official register for the secret club of multifamily owners, but once you step into this niche, you'll find that the cost of entry determines exactly how much human chaos you are required to manage. In the world of high-stakes assets, an apartment complex isn't a home. It is a pressurized container of human inventory that requires constant mechanical life support. You aren't in the real estate business. You are in the operational margin business, fighting a 24-hour war against the entropy of occupancy, a world where your revenue is capped by the local median income, but your expenses are tied to the global price of copper, insurance, and litigation. Just as there's a massive financial gap in the shopping mall industry between a Class A luxury destination and the crumbling regional center, apartment complexes are divided into a hierarchy that dictates your risk. At the very bottom, for somewhere around the $1 million to $5 million mark, you can buy a Class C property. Older buildings in neighborhoods that haven't seen a fresh coat of paint in decades. On a spreadsheet, the yields look incredible, but in reality, this is a yield trap that can quietly bleed an owner dry. You are fighting a daily war against collection loss and physical destruction. In this tier, your profit is frequently locked behind a 6-month court date for an eviction, and your equity is being stripped away by a local health department that views you as a predatory target, rather than a business owner. Move up to the $10 million to $50 million bracket and you enter the workforce housing sweet spot, the Class B apartment complexes that the professionals actually hunt for. These are 1990s garden-style properties in stable school districts. Your tenants are teachers, nurses, and mid-level managers, people who provide a revenue stream as stable as a treasury bond because they need to live near their jobs. This is where the 0.1% perform their value-add magic, spending $10,000 on a kitchen upgrade specifically to manufacture a rent increase that translates into millions of dollars in instant property value. But if you dig even deeper into the 100 million plus range, you reach the institutional grade Class A glass towers. At this price, you aren't buying square footage. You're buying a lifestyle amenity. Your tenants view their apartment as a fashion statement, and if your lobby doesn't smell like expensive cedar every single afternoon, they will move to the newer tower across the street the moment their lease is up. The amateur enters this business for the rent. The pro enters it for the net operating income. They know that the building is just a shell for a contractual cash flow, and the real game is surviving the infrastructure war that lives inside the walls, a war where a single plumbing failure in Unit 4B can erase a year of profit before you've even had your first cup of coffee. Whatever tier you land on, you're going to want to make changes. And being the owner of a 100-unit empire doesn't exempt you from the mountain of municipal paperwork that comes with it. A basic environmental site assessment or a lead paint inspection might only run you around $5,000, which at this point feels like a rounding error. But if you have plans to value add, the industry term for turning a Class C slum into a Class B boutique, the paperwork gets a lot more expensive. You're looking at 12 to 18 months of zoning reviews, ADA compliance audits, and fire marshal inspections circling your property like sharks, followed by a 6-month government review and a bill that can easily hit 6 figures before you've even replaced a single kitchen cabinet. But that doesn't matter because you've just completed a serious side quest and bought your very own vertical village. Yet, as you're about to discover, signing the deed is literally just the start of the never-ending money pit this place is about to become. Welcome to the scary world of running costs. I know you have expensive taste, so I'll just go ahead and assume you bought a stabilized complex in the $50 million or above mark. First up, there is the staff cost. Depending on the size of your new place, you're running a full-time team of 5 to 10 employees. Your roster will include a high-tier general manager who knows how to navigate local eviction laws, a few clinical leasing agents to keep the occupancy high, and a dedicated maintenance crew, plus a groundskeeper. Staffing costs vary by city, but a solid general manager alone will set you back somewhere around $250,000. By the time you factor in benefits and payroll taxes for the whole crew, you're likely looking at a ballpark of $1 million a year in wages just to keep the lights on and the complaints at a manageable level. Now, having $1 million staff on the payroll is one thing, but it's the internal organs of the building itself that will truly keep you awake at night. You see a grand stabilized asset, the 0.1% see a mechanical organism that is actively trying to vibrate, leak, and decay itself into a pile of non-performing debt. In a single-family rental, a burst pipe is a weekend headache. In a 100-unit complex, a plumbing failure on the top floor is a force majeure event that can delete 12 units of revenue and 6 months of equity in a single afternoon. Welcome to the infrastructure war, a battle where your primary enemy is deferred maintenance, the industry term for all the expensive problems the previous owner hid behind a fresh coat of beige. Just like a shopping mall, an apartment complex has a common area pool of expenses that never stop, regardless of how many people are actually paying rent. The roof has a 20-year clock, the HVAC units have 12, and the boilers have 8. If you aren't setting aside a reserve for replacement of at least $500 per unit, you aren't running a business. You're just liquidating your building's future to pay for your current lifestyle. Let's do the math on the invisible utility leak. In many older complexes, the landlord pays for the water. This is a utility trap that turns your tenants into price takers with infinite demand and zero incentive for conservation. If a single toilet in Unit 6G has a faulty flapper valve, it can silently leak 200 gallons of water a day. On its own, that's a rounding error, but if 10 of your units have minor invisible leaks, your monthly water bill will jump from $2,000 to $6,000 without warning. That $4,000 difference is pure profit taken straight out of your pocket. Because of how commercial valuations work, every dollar of unnecessary expense you cut adds roughly $20 to the property's value. That one leaky toilet just deleted $80,000 from your net worth before you even finished your morning coffee. Then there is the turnover tax, the single most expensive recurring event in the asset lifecycle. Every time a tenant's lease ends, that unit goes dark, producing zero revenue while still consuming insurance, property taxes, and climate control. To get it market ready for the next resident, you have to perform a turn, new paint, deep cleaned carpets, and a total hardware refresh. A standard turn on a Class B unit will set you back between $3,000 and $5,000. If your turnover rate is 50%, you're spending over $250,000 a year just to keep your unit staged for the next occupant. The 0.1% realize that they're not in the housing business. They're in the operational efficiency business. They use sub-metering tech to force the utility risk onto the tenant and predictive maintenance to replace a boiler at year 7 before it explodes at year 8. They know that in this game, the mailbox money dream dies the moment you stop treating your building like a high-precision machine. Now, seeing $3 million a year vanish into plumbing and payroll sounds like a terminal financial illness, until you realize that for the 0.1%, this isn't a housing business. It's a factory for manufactured equity. This is the value add play, the industry's favorite version of financial alchemy, where you stop being a landlord and start being a high-speed engineer of net operating income. You've probably heard the stories of the moguls who buy right and finance better. They don't look at a building and see a place for people to live. They see a yield machine that is currently mispricing its own potential. Let's do the math on the countertop arbitrage. Imagine you buy that tired 100-unit complex for $10 million. It's 30, the landscaping is dead, and the previous owner was too lazy to raise the rents for 5 years. You spend $1 million on a cosmetic facelift, new vinyl flooring, modern lighting, and those stainless steel appliances that make a Class C unit look like a Class B boutique. This allows you to justify a $200 a month rent increase across the board. On its own, $200 looks small, but across 100 units, that is $240,000 a year in new raw net operating income. In a market with a 5% cap rate, every single dollar of NOI you create adds $20 to the building's valuation. That $240,000 in new rent didn't just pay for your lunch, it just manufactured $4.8 million in instant property value. You spent $1 million to create nearly $5 million in equity. You go back to the bank, you refinance the building at its new $14.8 million valuation, you pull your initial down payment out tax-free, and you still own the machine. You now have infinite returns because you have exactly zero of your own dollars left in the deal. This is the Richard Branson play of the urban jungle. Just like he turned a $180,000 rock in the Caribbean into a $100 million resort, the elite multifamily operator uses the building as a loss leader to capture the financing gap. They aren't waiting 30 years to pay off a mortgage like a brokey. They're using the refinance machine to pull out their chips and move on to the next table. But don't think it's going to be a smooth ride, because the moment you try to reposition a complex, you're entering a high-stakes war with the local market that has buried more fortunes than it has created. The 0.1% know that the mailbox money was always a lie. The real money is in the appreciation and the tax efficiency that no other asset class replicates. You aren't building a home, you're building a financial instrument that the world's largest banks are desperate to buy from you. If you've managed to survive the 4 a.m. sewage floods and the soul-crushing litigation of the eviction courts, you've reached the final stage of the asset lifecycle, the institutional exit. At this point, you are no longer a landlord dealing with human drama. You are the architect of a stabilized financial product. You've successfully scrubbed the human element off the ledger and replaced it with a calculated certainty of cash flow. And that is the only language the world's largest pension funds and REITs speak. In the world of the 0.1%, the goal was never to own the building forever. The goal was to manufacture a high-tier yield in a world of low-tier returns. Because you've de-risked the asset by professionalizing the management and fixing the infrastructure, an institutional buyer or a massive REIT will pay you a multiple for that certainty that would make a local investor's head spin. They aren't buying the bricks, they're buying a bond with a roof. They have a lower cost of capital than you, which means they can afford to pay you a premium for the privilege of not having to do the dirty work you just spent the last 5 years perfecting. This is the final transition from operator to elite owner. You aren't selling rooms anymore. You're selling a vertical subscription service for shelter. You've proven that through recessions, pandemics, and local layoffs, your 100 units will reliably produce a check every month. And in the modern economy, that proof is more valuable than the land itself. So enjoy your 8-figure payday. You've earned it. Just remember, you didn't just survive a real estate deal. You built a machine that outlived its own chaos. But even as you walk away, the building stays, the systems keep decaying, and the new owner is about to discover exactly what you already know, that an apartment complex isn't a home. It's a bill that never stops arriving, even when the brokies stop paying. In the world of high-stakes real estate, an apartment complex isn't a home. It's a financial engine with a roof. And the 0.1% aren't selling the space. They're selling the certainty that humans will always pay a premium to not sleep on the street. If you're ready to see how the 0.1% lose 9 figures with dignity in the industries where the inventory doesn't talk back, click here to watch our breakdown on the economics of owning an offshore oil rig, or subscribe to join the exclusive club of people who know exactly how the money pits of the world really work.